5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, I'm Don Cassell with the Tennessee Shieks, and I play mandolin and guitar and dobro.
I'm Nancy Brennan Strange, and I'm in the Tennessee Shieks, and I sing and I play guitar sometimes. and that's who I am.
And you make records.
I make records, yeah.
We make records, we do.
Well, that's actually the main thing I want to ask you is like, what's it like to release a record in 2020? I mean, that had to be not exactly how you had planned to do it.
No.
No, it was not. But we finished recording the latter part of 2019, and you know, it had big plans to, you know, for release parties and so on and so forth, and didn't quite work out. But the music platforms are selling records, and people seem to really enjoy it, and it's just, well, you know, it's been a crazy year, quite different than we expected it would be. But I hope the music has brought some, you know, some good and joy to people. We've gotten a lot of really nice comments on the record.
Well, what I've noticed about this record, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like people who really love playing music all together in the same room at the same time.
Yeah.
Is that how it was recorded?
Yeah, we were all in the same, well, we were at Seva's studio, but we were all in the same room, and all the guys got to be together except for the drummer, and I was in the vocalist room, and I guess Marcus was in the piano kind of room, but it was still like we were all together recording stuff at the same time. It was really fun, like just live.
Yeah, we cut it live, including the vocal tracks. So.
Oh, so you did the vocals with everything.
We did a lot of it totally live. I mean, there was a few overdubs on some vocals, but we cut a lot of it just straight up, and you know, we were pretty pleased about that.
And that means you must have had to rehearse.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of gigs back then.
We always kind of rehearsed as we go, but and arrange as we go. But yes, there was some rehearsal. Mostly in the studio, though. But we did a lot of live shows in the last few years with that exact configuration, and so we were pretty tight on a lot of those tunes.
Yeah, we were playing a lot back then. So,
what did it feel like to have all of that stop? Like the playing, you know, you're in this great band with these great people, and then it just stops. What did that feel like?
Kind of weird, like. Not good. We had all these gigs lined up. We were excited about them, and they just like.
Yeah, and it's been so hard for everybody, you know, everywhere, and it's just so you just kind of take it as it is. But yeah, and we miss each other, but we're all in touch, and we've had a few, you know, outside social distance kind of music sessions and that kind of thing. So it's, you know, we're all still there together, I guess.
Yeah.
Just know it's 2020 and this is where we are. So anyway.
We have had a few outdoor gigs like in the last 6 weeks, and that's been really good, like 3. And we're outside playing. It's just so good to be back with everybody. You know?
And then, but that's got to, I mean, now that, you know, I'm bringing the plants in at night, and the dog is not wanting to stay out as long. So.
Yeah, the outdoor gigs are over for the year, I think. So.
Yeah. And now with the numbers going up, then probably the gigs are going to go down. But
now I haven't played a gig since, I guess, you know, early this year.
Yeah.
And I've noticed like a withdrawal kind of thing where, you know, if it went for a while without a gig before, I'm like, so what? But now I'm like, boy, would I really love to play, you know?
Yeah, no, you're so right. Have you been, may I ask, if you've been playing at home and just kind of woodshedding and learning things and that kind of deal?
I've been playing at home. Well, that's the flip side of it. And I'm curious for you too. I've actually been playing more guitar in 2020 than I've probably played guitar in the last 3 years combined.
No, that's right. I mean, it's, I think you can spend a time to dig in, I mean, and really work. I think, you know, I mean, when you're at home and, you know, try to come up with new ideas and so on and so forth. But yeah, no, it's been, the withdrawal thing is, I know exactly where you are. And it was so good the first time we played just to see everybody. I mean, just to see everybody. Couldn't wait to hear something, you know.
Yeah, well, I have the feeling when all this is over that we as listeners will appreciate the experience in a deeper way.
Yeah.
I think so. I think you're right, Todd.
Yeah.
Dude.
So how did you choose all the songs on Tanglewood? Because it's a really nice variety of styles and some things I wouldn't expect, and it's just a nice mix of tunes, original and some choice covers.
Well, you know, we played a lot over the last few years, and everybody in this band, you know, kind of brings their you know, a different music to the mix, from Barry Hanna to Michael Crawley to Don and Ken Wood, Marcus, Vince Logan, and of course Nancy and I played together for many, many years, and so, you know, we've been able to sort of pick and choose and find music that we like. And it was difficult. There were other tunes we considered putting on the record, and we ended up trying to represent the band in a lot of different aspects, I guess you could say.
What can you tell me about the song King Air, and what does that title mean?
That was a song I played for many years with Fletcher Bright and the Dismembered Tennesseans in a bluegrass band. And the band we're still together, but Fletcher passed away several years ago. And Fletcher had a King Air, and we used to travel in that plane. And I wrote that on a trip to Pennsylvania one year in the plane. So anyway, so in his King Air. So
the King Air is the name of an actual plane model?
Of an airplane, yeah. It's a type of airplane, yes. It's a twin engine airplane.
I mean, the fanciest way I ever got to a gig was in like a Buick.
We were very fortunate when Fletcher
flew them around to their gig.
You know, it's funny. We would go to some bluegrass festivals and we'd play, and you know, we'd get there, fly in, and he ended up at one point selling the King Air and had a citation, so we were on a jet, but we'd be walking by the other bands and see all our buddies, you know, as we were, and then, hey man, when did you get in? And we said, about 10 minutes ago, we'll be home for dinner. So, it was pretty nice travel.
Wow.
He was a very gracious guy and a great fiddler, and just salt of the earth in every way, and quite successful in his lifetime. But he'd rather be fiddling. He would have rather been fiddling than anything. But anyway, that's where King Air came from. You
know, if I put a different kind of band together, I'm going to just put an ad out for people with their pilot's license, you know, and must also be able to play an instrument.
That would help. Get there a lot faster.
Yeah. You know, one of the things about this record is there's a definite swing to it. You know, I guess you could call it country music or bluegrass or swing. I'm not sure what you would call it, but I love that it feels very American to me, and it's not tied too strongly in any one direction. But I love that you do. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. So tell me about working that tune up.
Nancy, why don't you share something on that tune?
That's just one of my favorite songs to sing. So like in our band, like everybody's from a different kind of place, and I just want to see what happened if we played that song together, and it's worked. It's fun to sing. And we got so many really great musicians. Everybody's got their own take on it, but it all kind of melds together.
Yeah, and this is something, you know, like doing a jazz show for like, I don't know how many years, but a lot of them.
A long time. It's a great
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I really like, I really love swing and whatever's happening, and this band seems like it likes to like have that element, no matter, even like California Stars, you know, which is like, well, it's a Woody Guthrie song, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Reworked with Billy Bragg and Wilco. How did that song
right.
come about?
Michael loves that song, and he kind of brought it to the band, and we've changed keys on it a couple times, and he finally settled in B, and everything's good. So, so that's how that. But he swings that when he sings it. I think he's just great feel on that song.
Yeah, and it's and you got a guy that plays harmonica. It seems like he could do any key, because I know he's got like harmonicas for keys that don't even exist yet.
He's got like a giant.
He does. He can
harmonic.
really find a groove almost any bag. I mean, it's really something else. I mean, you don't think it'll work, and it works, and it's just, you know, so.
What can you tell me about the song Tanglewood? That's the title track of the recording.
Well, I spent several years ago, a friend of ours, and probably a friend of yours too, Jack O'Hanlon. He and his wife Marlene have a place in the Pocono Mountains, and I was up there visiting some people, and spent a week there by myself. And he lives on Tanglewood Drive, and it's anyway. And I was working on music during that period for quite a lot of the trip. I was just sort of by myself and reflecting on things, and I just decided to write that tune one day, and it just kind of kept evolving. And anyway, so it was written in the Pocono Mountains, and on Tanglewood Drive and Pocono Pines. So anyway.
Man, this I want to give a special shout out on this recording to Poe Hannah. You know, I mean, as a guitar player, he's one of those guys, when I watch play, I have these mixed feelings of, oh, I'm really loving this, and why didn't I practice more? You know, why didn't I try a little harder when I was learning the instrument? What can you tell me?
I do know. I do know. Yeah, no, Poe, he can find where it's happening, and you know, playing that gut string guitar on I thought his solo on that song was just right on. It was so good. Yeah.
And Marcus Shirley lives down the street from me.
Oh yeah,
And,
that's right.
Yeah. And what can you tell me about working with Marcus? I know y'all worked with him a lot.
I've played with Marcus like, God, how old's my daughter? 36, 37 years. Like we did shows back then. He can play anything. And he used to play at Club Lacan all the time, and he could play anything. Like, and he had theme songs for people that walked by. Like he'd be playing a standard, somebody walked by and he'd go into the theme song and then back to whatever.
He can. You can play Stump the Band with Marcus. It's difficult. It doesn't matter, you know, what genre of music. It's just he's been there and knows it. And you know, he had a fusion band years ago, if you remember, in Knoxville, so he's kind of he has I guess the jazz school he likes is more in that vein, but he knows lots and lots of standards there, and he can play folk music, and
he can play anything.
He played on King Air. That break to me was just like out of left field, and it's really interesting and perfect. And he's just fun to he makes the music better always.
Yeah.
And you know, Nancy, you said you've been playing for like 35, 36 years. What is it like to have that long running musical relationship with somebody? Is there a point where you don't even have to speak, where you just kind of get each other?
Yeah, pretty much. Like with Marcus, you don't have to say anything. Like you could play part of a song and he's gonna have it. Like he can hear part of a song you're learning and he's already got it, you know. And Dawn and I played together for about 34, 35 years. Like,
Yeah, we did a few shows early on, some folks shows just as a trio with Marcus early, and we played at the Laurel Theater once in that with that configuration
and we started as a duo, Don and I, called Pastime. Pastimes, was that the name of it?
Pastimes. Yeah, that's
Like
the name.
many moons ago.
So then let me ask you then, Don, who on this record, who is the person you've played with the longest?
Nancy.
So it's you, even Nancy, yeah. So it's the same question for y'all. Is it just like seamless when you work together?
Yeah, for the most part, I think. Do you agree with that, Nancy?
Sorry.
The show doesn't last forever, okay? So,
Well, it's, you know, I have people now that I've been playing with for almost 40 years, and
Yeah.
but we still sometimes, you know, sometimes we still like disagree. I mean, it's pretty,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a part of it for sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's got it, you know, it's good.
Yeah, I think there's a good nature to the, you know, like after a certain number of years, you just sort of like, you can communicate any old way and it works.
Yeah. Do you still play with Bob Deck? Because we used to play with Bob Deck too. He was in one of our bands.
Oh yeah, in fact, that's one of my main music partners. But we've been bemoaning not playing. In fact, we almost set up in front of my house the other day, and now it's too dang late.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I love playing with Bob. He's
hilarious. And
Oh yeah.
treat.
You finish off the record with two songs that you might not expect to go together. Sitting on Top of the World and Whiskey Before Breakfast. And it's really great. It's a great closer, and the playing is beautiful on it. Tell me about that.
Well, I've played Sitting on Top of the World forever and ever, it seems like. And you know, it just, you start doing those tunes and this band can really, Don Wood, Kenny lays down some really good time on drums, and it's just, we can find a really nice groove there, but it's, you know, no matter how it's arranged, slow, fast, or whatever, or even if you change the melody some, because there's a lot of versions of that tune. I kind of like that more bluegrassy kind of thing, and I don't know, we play some fiddle tunes, and it just seemed like that worked really well, just, you know, to transition and into Whiskey Before Breakfast, and the band likes playing that tune, so
yeah.
just kind of arranged it that way, and it's kind of stuck, I guess.
Well, what's next? I mean, do we even know? Can we even say, you know, at this point?
That's a tough one, Todd.
Yeah. We hope the pandemic will go away so we can like
be out and see folks and start, you know, play some. And
it is weird not being out playing. I mean, like, we've had a few gigs, but it's just weird, like, and not getting to go out and hear music, and it's just a weird time.
Yeah. Well, it won't last, but the music will, you know, and when
that's right.
We get this thing under control, I'm going to be more excited to see music, I think, than I've ever been.
I agree, Todd, and I think it's going to be robust, everything, and I think there'll be a lot of great music. There's a lot of great music now. I mean, people are doing all they can, you know, to try to play, you know, as they can and where they can, and Zoom, you know, and whatever. But it's going to be nice to be able to get out and see folks. And, you know, there are a few people that call me occasionally that are playing, and I'm sure I'm like probably you and I know Nancy and others. It just it doesn't really work for me. I want to just, you know, try to do the right thing with this pandemic and wait for another day, I guess.
Yeah.
They're a lot braver than I am, I guess, or if you want to, anyway.
I promise I'll make up for it, you know, like with all the ones I've missed, I'll go to double when the time comes.
Yeah.
Well, Nancy Brennan Strange, Don Cassell, the new record is called Tanglewood, the Tennessee Shieks. Great music, joyous music. and a mood lifter as well in 2020. And thanks to you both.
Well, thanks to you for having us on your show.
Yeah, thanks very much, Todd. We're really delighted to be a part. Thank you so much.